My sister stole my inheritance and told everyone I was a drug addict. 6 months later, she woke up to a family apocalypse. Today, my phone is exploding with 55 missed calls. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's a battlefield. I'm Ethan Rodriguez, 32, and this is how my own sister Rebecca tried to erase me from our family's history. Our father's death was supposed to be about grief. Instead, it became a carefully orchestrated betrayal that would destroy everything our family thought they knew. Dad was old school. A successful construction company owner who built everything from the ground up. $7.5 million in assets. A legacy that Rebecca decided she would claim entirely for herself. The funeral hadn't even finished when the whispers started. Ethan's been struggling, she'd say, just loud enough for everyone to hear. He's had drug problems for years. Her voice would drop, feigning concern. We're worried about him. I watched her systematically dismantle my reputation, sharing fabricated stories with our aunts, uncles, cousins, creating a narrative of me as the black sheep, the failed son. What she didn't know was that I'd been watching, collecting evidence, understanding every single move she was making. The will reading was her masterpiece. Dad had always intended to split everything equally, but Rebecca had other plans. Forged documents, carefully manipulated legal papers, a narrative so carefully constructed that even I was almost impressed by her dedication. He's not in a position to manage anything, she told the family lawyer, her eyes glistening with carefully rehearsed tears. His addiction would destroy everything Dad worked for. I said nothing. Watched. Waited. Some people believe in immediate confrontation. I believe in letting betrayal expose itself. Rebecca had no idea what was coming, and I was about to become the architect of her own destruction. Revenge is a science, and I was about to become its most precise practitioner. The Rodriguez family was a network of connections, rumors, and carefully guarded secrets. Rebecca thought she'd won. She had no idea what was coming. My first move was quiet. Systematic. I began documenting everything. Every conversation. Every family gathering. Every single piece of communication that could prove her fabrications. An old family friend, Maria, worked as a legal assistant. Confidentially, I told her during a carefully orchestrated coffee meeting. Each word calculated. Each piece of information precisely placed. The family history became my obsession. Old documents. Financial records. Inheritance paperwork. Digital footprints are never completely erased. I discovered a pattern. Rebecca had been strategically positioning herself for months. Subtle manipulations. Carefully placed conversations. The kind of family maneuvering that would make a corporate strategist proud. Our extended family network became an unexpected ally. Whispers. Careful observations. The kind of information sharing that happens in the shadows of family gatherings. The most interesting discovery came from an old email chain. Rebecca had been negotiating with family lawyers, preparing to completely cut me out of the inheritance. Before Dad's funeral, before the will reading, relatives who had once praised her started to notice something was off. Subtle questions. Careful investigations. The perfectly crafted image was beginning to crack. I wasn't doing anything dramatic. I was simply letting the truth gather momentum. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true exposure comes from patience. Rebecca thought she was running a perfect family con. She was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The landmines were set. All I needed was to watch them detonate. Family secrets are like landmines, and I was about to trigger every single one. Over the next 3 months, I became a ghost in our family's ecosystem. Rebecca continued her victory lap, completely unaware that I was dismantling her carefully constructed lie, piece by careful piece. My first strategic move involved the family construction business, the empire our father had built. I knew family dynamics loved details, and details were my specialty. I reached out to Uncle Carlos, a retired lawyer who had handled some of Dad's early business contracts. Confidentially, I told him during a carefully planned dinner meeting. Casual. Calculated. Nothing direct. The business records became my obsession. Old contracts. Financial statements. Property transactions. Rebecca had been clever, but not clever enough. I discovered a pattern of financial manipulation that would make most forensic accountants raise an eyebrow. Questionable property transfers. Suspicious business dealings. The kind of family financial maneuvering that destroys legacies. My network of cousins and distant relatives became an unexpected intelligence-gathering team. Quiet conversations. Strategic inquiries. The kind of information collection that happens in the shadows of family reunions. The most interesting discovery came from old business documents. A trail of small inconsistencies. Potential fraud. The kind of family sins that could unravel entire inheritances. Each piece of information was another nail in her professional coffin. My background in business consulting became my secret weapon. Late nights weren't suspicious. Detailed research wasn't out of character. I used every professional skill I'd ever developed: financial analysis, forensic investigation, strategic planning. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who roars. It's the one who watches. Who waits. Who plans. Rebecca thought she was running a perfect family con. She had no idea I was writing the script to her own destruction. By the time I was done, she would lose everything. Not just the inheritance. Not just her reputation. But her entire carefully constructed family facade. This was going to be a masterpiece of family exposure. And I was just getting started. Precision is an art form. In family warfare, it becomes a devastating weapon. The first crack in Rebecca's perfect narrative came during our annual Rodriguez family reunion, an event she'd carefully orchestrated to cement her family hero status. I'd been quietly preparing for months, gathering every single piece of evidence with the precision of a surgical instrument. The country club banquet hall was my chosen battlefield. Rebecca arrived confident, her designer dress a shield of perceived family superiority. She had no idea the walls were about to come crashing down. I presented the evidence systematically. Forged documents. Unauthorized business transfers. Fabricated addiction claims. Each slide was another nail in her carefully constructed family coffin. Uncle Carlos, the retired lawyer I'd strategically consulted, was in the audience. His presence was my silent weapon. Each raised eyebrow was another blow to her credibility. These financial inconsistencies, I said quietly, pointing to a series of suspicious family business transactions, aren't just questionable. They're a fundamental violation of family trust. The Rodriguez family watched in stunned silence. The documentation I'd meticulously compiled told a story Rebecca never intended to be told. Overlapping property transfers. Strategic financial manipulations. A pattern of family betrayal that went far beyond a simple inheritance dispute. Rebecca tried to interrupt. To spin a narrative. But the evidence was overwhelming. Relatives who had once praised her family leadership were now looking at her differently. Whispers. Careful glances. The perfect family image was crumbling in real time. I hadn't done anything dramatic. I'd simply let the truth speak for itself. Some people believe in confrontation. I believe in letting evidence do the heavy lifting. Rebecca thought she was running a perfect family con. She was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The first domino had fallen. And I was just getting started. Family ties are like spider webs, delicate, interconnected, and easily destroyed. Rebecca's carefully constructed family reputation began to disintegrate faster than she could manage damage control. The Rodriguez family group chats, holiday gatherings, and private conversations became a battlefield of truth. Relatives who had initially supported her narrative about my supposed drug addiction started asking uncomfortable questions. The kind of questions that don't have easy answers. My Aunt Maria became my unexpected strategist. I always thought something was off, she confided during a carefully arranged coffee meeting. Her observations were like precision tools, cutting through Rebecca's carefully constructed facade. The family's respect and potential inheritance funding Rebecca had been pursuing started evaporating. Phone calls became shorter. Invitations were canceled. Family relationships she'd spent years building were disappearing overnight. Family gatherings became a minefield. Whispered conversations. Carefully shared documents. The perfectly curated family image was crumbling in real time. Extended family networks began to see the truth. The The late-night strategy sessions. The hushed conversations. The pieces started falling into place. Our cousins were the first to truly break ranks. Whispered conversations at family events. Careful sharing of discovered inconsistencies. Her protective shield was crumbling. I didn't do anything dramatic. I simply let the truth do the heavy lifting. Family networks began to collapse. Relatives who had once praised her family leadership were now asking hard questions. Investigations were launched. Reputations were at stake. The most dangerous strategist isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true exposure comes from patience. Rebecca thought she was running a perfect family con. She was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The family web was unraveling. And I was watching it come apart, thread by careful thread. Some family stories end with a whisper. Mine ended with a calculated storm. The formal family reckoning was nothing short of a strategic masterpiece. I didn't just want to expose Rebecca. I wanted to dismantle everything she had built. My evidence was comprehensive. Financial fraud. Systematic family manipulation. Repeated ethical violations. The kind of detailed investigation that would make a family lawyer weep with professional satisfaction. Her legal team tried every trick. Character assassination. Claims of sibling rivalry. Attempts to paint me as a bitter brother trying to destroy her reputation. I let the documents speak for themselves. Forged inheritance documents. Unauthorized property transfers. Fabricated medical records. Falsified business transactions. Each piece of evidence was another nail in her familial coffin. Uncle Carlos became my unexpected primary witness. His reputation in family law was beyond reproach. His analysis of my compiled evidence was devastating. The family's legal review board's decision was unanimous. Not only would Rebecca face complete familial discreditation, but she would be barred from the family business. The professional and personal network she'd spent years building would be utterly destroyed. Her support network collapsed. Family connections disappeared. Future inheritance prospects were cancelled. The family empire she thought she was building crumbled in real time. Her own cousins began providing additional testimony. Those hushed conversations, those moments of doubt, they became the final weapon in her destruction. I didn't seek revenge out of anger. I sought justice out of principle. The inheritance she tried to steal, it would now be properly distributed, secured for its rightful recipients. Some people believe in dramatic confrontations. I believed in letting truth do the heavy lifting. Rebecca lost everything. Her reputation. Her family standing. Her carefully constructed familial life. And I walked away with something far more valuable. Integrity. And a promise kept to my father's memory. Some stories end. Some lessons continue. 3 years after the family investigation, life looked completely different. My reputation was not just restored, it was elevated. The Rodriguez family had changed. Not just because of my specific case, but because of the conversations it sparked about family integrity. About the importance of truth. I'd learned something profound about family. About justice. About the kind of integrity that doesn't come from blood, but from principle. Rebecca disappeared from family circles. No dramatic exit. Just a slow fade into irrelevance. Her attempts to rebuild her reputation were continually undermined by the comprehensive documentation of her misconduct. Our extended family began to heal. Conversations became more honest. Relationships more transparent. The most interesting outcome wasn't my personal vindication. It was the systemic change my case had triggered. Family gatherings became places of genuine connection. Old secrets were brought to light. Healing began. I didn't feel victorious. I felt resolved. Some believe revenge is about making someone suffer. I learned it's about protecting family integrity. About showing your true character when everything is falling apart. The phone calls from Rebecca eventually stopped. The desperate attempts to explain. To manipulate. To reconnect. I'd built something she could never touch. A life of personal integrity. A family legacy based on truth. Every challenge became an opportunity. Every setback, a lesson. The day I was honored at a family reunion for preserving our father's legacy, I thought about Rebecca. Not with anger. Not with satisfaction. Just with a clear understanding that truth always finds its way. Some people are defined by their worst moments. Others are defined by how they rise above them. I chose to rise.